Okay guys, today we're going to be remaking one of those songs that was a big part of my childhood, and that is the PlayStation Store music from the PS Vita. Look at this, I still have mine to this day. Yo, shout out to anyone who still has theirs. It honestly has some pretty cool games. Like, I used to play Mortal Kombat, Little Big Planet, The Binding of Isaac. I used to go on the PlayStation Store and just like look through the free games because like I was little and had like no money. So like obviously I couldn't buy any of the paid games. I would just look for free games. And like usually most of them were garbage, but it was still cool. I mean, I think the PS Vita had a good selection of games. And then it was cool because they also had like movies you could buy or like rent, I think. Anyways, yeah, so we're just going to be remaking that today, so let's just get right into it. Alright, so we're just gonna kick this off with the synths. This song kind of like has this sound that you hear throughout a lot of like older PlayStation songs from like older games, even newer games, which is nice. Kind of keeps like a common theme. Okay, it was kind of difficult getting those synths to sound right, but I'm gonna like perfect them later. Anyways, I'm about to move on to these little like bells that are playing throughout the intro. Okay, that was honestly easier than I thought. It's literally just like 2 notes that arpeggiate. Also, my CPU is like already dying, so I might just bounce the chords. That way I don't have to worry about all the plugins, since it's like 3 different plugins, because I had to layer it to try and make it sound right. Yeah, so now I'm gonna get like the little hi-hats in here. Alright, now I just need to throw in the kick, and then the intro is almost done. Honestly though, it's kind of like hard to tell if that's really a kick or if it's like a bass note. It's like I'm kind of hearing a note there. Alright, it is a new day. I was like struggling with this little, so I like went to bed, changed a few things, made the chords right, and then turned it into this track. And then I added this layer that comes in. But I like went to bed, and then I started dreaming about this mix. I was like working on the mix in my dream, and I was mixing in my sleep. And I like how people sleepwalk. Sleep mixing, as I like to call it. But I saw FL Studio in my dream, and I had envisioned this. Honestly, bouncing patterns to audio tracks is like so clutch. Like I never do this, but it's honestly so helpful for like high CPU usage. Pro tip, if you're trying to get the delay you want, but you can't really manipulate it to do what you want in a plugin, you can kind of like add more notes and then control the velocity and have it do exactly what you want, kind of like you saw me do here. Anyways, I'm about to include this last part in this intro, which is basically like the little subtle notes that you hear in the background. And then after that, there's going to be like a build up. All right, now we're gonna get into this kind of like bridge section. It like builds up into the piano part. All right, now that that's out of the way, we're gonna get started with this piano part. Luckily, this part is like kind of minimal, and then it has the little like weird instrument that comes over it. There's not too much going on. I know there's like sound effects going on in the background. I don't know if I'm gonna include that. Like if I can find something accurate, then I will. If not, then like you're not gonna hear it. Okay, that got a little crazy and it still isn't like insanely accurate. For some reason I made it like a little more like serious and sad. I don't know why. I like made it super minor for some reason, but it's like somewhat accurate. So we're just gonna keep moving on. Alright, this just needs one more thing, and then it should be done. And I was trying out this little clarinet sound from this plugin, which is like an emulation of the Kawaii K1. But this sounds like fairly similar, so I'm going to be using this for it. This beat got me like... Alright, yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. This song is like so nostalgic for me. But yeah, honestly, this took a little longer than I thought. Probably gonna do some like final touches for the final mix. Yeah, shout out to the PS Vita. Honestly, underrated. But I'll have the full song linked in the description as always. Let me know if y'all have any feedback. Thank y'all for watching, and I'm about to play the full thing.